The laughter cut through Relle like glass. She stood behind her small table at the community center, her hands trembling as she arranged the pastries she'd brought for the fundraiser. The sheer cream-colored veil covered her face as always, hanging from a delicate headband and falling past her shoulders. "Look at her," a woman whispered loudly to her friend, not even trying to be discreet. "Still hiding behind that thing. What could possibly be so terrible underneath?" "Maybe she got burned in a fire," another voice suggested. "Or maybe she's just that ugly," someone else laughed. "My cousin told me she's worn that veil for over 10 years. Can you imagine being so hideous you have to hide your face?" Rochelle's chest tightened. She focused on arranging the lemon tarts, trying to ignore the cruel words floating around her. This wasn't new. She'd heard versions of these comments her entire adult life. The veil had become part of her, a shield she'd worn since she was 16 years old. "No man would ever marry someone like that," an older woman said, shaking her head. "Too ugly to even show her face. What a shame." The words hurt more than they should after all these years. Relle blinked back tears, grateful for the veil hiding her expression. She'd come tonight because the fundraiser supported the local children's hospital. She'd donated 24 of her best pastries, hoping to help. But standing here, listening to people dissect her appearance, made her wonder why she bothered. "Those pastries better be good," a man muttered as he walked past. "Because that veil sure isn't doing her any favors." More laughter followed. Relle wanted to leave. She wanted to pack up her things and run back to the safety of her small bakery, where at least the ovens didn't judge her. But something kept her rooted to the spot. Maybe it was stubbornness. Maybe it was the memory of her father telling her to always help others, no matter what they thought of her. The community center doors opened and the noise level changed. Conversations shifted. People started moving toward the entrance, whispering excitedly. "It's Dominic Ashford, the billionaire. He's the main sponsor tonight." Relle didn't look up. She'd heard of Dominic Ashford. Everyone in the city had. He owned half the commercial real estate downtown and had built his fortune through smart investments and hard work. He donated millions to charity every year. But wealthy people didn't notice women like her, especially not women who hid behind veils. She focused on her pastries, straightening them one more time even though they were already perfect. "Excuse me." The voice was deep, warm, and speaking directly to her. Relle looked up slowly and found herself staring at a tall man in an impeccably tailored dark blue suit. His hair was brown, his eyes a striking green, and his expression was kind. Dominic Ashford stood right in front of her table. "These look incredible," he said, gesturing to her pastries. "Did you make them?" Relle nodded, not trusting her voice. "May I try one?" She nodded again and gestured to the lemon tarts. He picked one up carefully and took a bite. His eyes widened. "This is exceptional. Really, truly exceptional. The balance of sweet and tart is perfect." "Thank you," Relle managed to whisper through her veil. Dominic finished the tart and smiled at her. Not a pitying smile. Not a curious smile. Just a genuine smile of appreciation. "Do you sell these somewhere? I'd love to know where I can buy more." "I have a small bakery," she said softly. "Bennett's on Maple Street." "Bennett's?" he repeated, committing it to memory. "I'll definitely visit. Thank you for donating these tonight. The hospital will benefit greatly." He nodded respectfully and moved on to greet other attendees. Relle stood frozen, her heart beating faster than normal. He hadn't mentioned her veil. He hadn't stared or whispered. He'd just talked to her like she was a normal person. Around her, the whispers started again. "Did you see that? Ashford actually talked to her. He probably felt sorry for her. Or maybe he's just being polite because of the cameras." Relle took a deep breath. She told herself not to hope. Not to let one kind interaction change anything. But something had shifted inside her and she couldn't quite push it back down. Have you ever felt invisible, like the world sees right through you? Rochelle's story is about finding light in the darkest moments. If you believe in hope and second chances, please subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support means everything. The fundraiser continued around Relle like a river flowing past a stone. People came to her table, took pastries, and left without making eye contact. She was used to it. Being invisible was easier than being mocked. But her mind kept drifting back to Dominic Ashford's kind eyes and genuine smile. It had been so long since someone treated her with simple respect that she'd almost forgotten what it felt like. "Those lemon tarts are divine," an elderly woman said, approaching the table. She wore a bright red dress and had warm brown eyes. "You're very talented, dear." "Thank you," Relle replied. I'm Grace Wilson. I live on Maple Street 2, just 3 doors down from your bakery. I've been meaning to stop in, but these old bones don't move as fast as they used to. Something about Grace's open, friendly manner made Relle relax slightly. You're welcome anytime. I'm usually there from 6 in the morning until 6 at night. A hard worker, Grace nodded approvingly. That's good. Hard work pays off, you'll see. Before Relle could respond, a sharp voice cut through the air behind her. Well, if it isn't the veiled freak. Rochelle's entire body went rigid. She knew that voice. Patricia Bennett, her stepmother. She turned slowly to find Patricia standing there with her 2 daughters, Brenda and Candace. All 3 wore expensive dresses and matching sneers. Hello, Patricia, Relle said quietly. Still hiding that face, I see, Brenda said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. How sad. Candace giggled. Maybe if you took it off you'd actually attract a man. Then again, probably not. Grace frowned. That's quite enough. This young woman is contributing to charity. What have you donated? Patricia's eyes narrowed. Mind your business, old woman. We're family. Family doesn't speak that way, Grace said firmly. Patricia ignored her, focusing on Relle. We heard you're still running that pathetic little bakery. Daddy would be so disappointed to see what you've done with his shop. The words hit their mark. Rochelle's father had died 12 years ago, leaving her the small bakery he'd run for 30 years. She'd been 16 and Patricia had become her legal guardian. The 3 years until Relle turned 18 had been the worst of her life. The bakery is doing fine, Relle said, trying to keep her voice steady. Fine isn't good enough, Patricia snapped. You're wasting prime real estate. That building could be worth something if you sold it. But no, you insist on playing baker. I'm not selling, Relle said. We'll see about that. Patricia turned on her heel, her daughters following like shadows. Grace touched Rochelle's arm gently. Are you all right, dear? I'm used to it, Relle said, but her voice shook. That doesn't make it right. Grace squeezed her arm. You hold your head high. You're worth more than their cruelty. Relle nodded, grateful for the kindness even as tears threatened behind her veil. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. She packed up her empty containers and prepared to leave. As she walked toward the exit, she nearly collided with someone. I'm so sorry, she said quickly, stepping back. My fault entirely, Dominic Ashford said, steadying her with a gentle hand on her elbow. Relle, right? From Bennett's Bakery? She was surprised he remembered. Yes. I was just telling the event coordinator that your pastries were the highlight of the evening. Several people asked where they came from. He paused. I hope that's all right. I didn't mean to direct attention if you prefer privacy. No, that's very kind. Thank you. I meant what I said earlier. I'll definitely stop by your bakery. Those lemon tarts were memorable. He smiled again, that same genuine warmth, and walked away. Relle stood there, containers in hand, feeling something unfamiliar stirring in her chest. Hope maybe. Or just the memory of kindness. Either way, it felt like sunlight after a long, cold night. She walked to her car, Grace's words echoing in her mind, You're worth more than their cruelty. Maybe it was time to start believing that. Relle woke at 5 in the morning just like every day. The alarm wasn't necessary anymore. Her body had learned the rhythm of a baker's life years ago. She moved through her small apartment above the bakery, pulling on comfortable jeans and a bright green t-shirt. The veil came last as always. She secured it carefully, making sure it fell properly around her face and shoulders. Looking in the mirror, she saw what everyone else saw, a woman hiding. But the reflection held memories that explained why. Relle had been 12 when her mother died of cancer. Her father, Thomas Bennett, had been devastated but determined to give his daughter a good life. He'd run his bakery with pride, teaching Relle everything he knew about mixing dough, tempering chocolate, and creating pastries that made people smile. Baking is about love, he used to say. Every cake, every cookie, every tart carries a piece of your heart to someone else. Never forget that. When Relle was 14, her father met Patricia Morgan at a business networking event. Patricia was beautiful, polished, and knew exactly how to charm Thomas. She had 2 daughters from a previous marriage, Brenda, who was 16, and Candace, who was 13. Thomas married Patricia after 6 months of dating. He believed Relle needed a mother figure, and he believed Patricia's declarations of love. He didn't live long enough to see the truth. Thomas died of a heart attack 2 years later, leaving his bakery and building to Relle in his will. But at 16 she couldn't manage the business alone, and Patricia became her guardian. The abuse started immediately. Look at you, Patricia had said the day after the funeral, her mask of kindness completely gone. Plain as dishwater. No wonder your father left everything to you instead of me. He knew you'd never find a husband to take care of you. Brenda and Candace had joined in eagerly, grateful to have someone beneath them in the family hierarchy. You're so ugly, Brenda would say. No boy will ever want you, Candace added. They said it so often that Relle started to believe it. She looked in the mirror and saw ugliness because that's what they told her was there. When she turned 16 and boys at school started to notice her, Patricia grew even crueler. They're mocking you, Patricia would say. They're making fun of you behind your back. Everyone laughs at you, Brenda confirmed. The final blow came when a boy named Aaron asked Relle to prom. She'd been so happy, so hopeful. But Patricia, Brenda, and Candace spent the entire day before the dance telling her how ridiculous she looked, how Aaron was pranking her, how everyone would laugh when she showed up. By the time prom night arrived, Relle couldn't make herself go. She'd called Aaron and canceled, citing illness. The next week at school, she heard he'd asked someone else. That's when she found the veil in her mother's old things. A beautiful cream-colored veil her mother had worn to a friend's wedding. Relle put it on and felt safe for the first time in months. If they couldn't see her face, they couldn't judge it. If she was hidden, their words might hurt less. She started wearing it every day. At first, people asked questions. Then they started whispering. Eventually, they just accepted that the baker girl wore a veil and probably always would. On her 18th birthday, Relle legally took control of her father's bakery. Patricia tried to fight it, but Thomas's will was clear. The building and business belonged to Relle. Patricia, Brenda, and Candace moved out within a month, furious they couldn't profit from Thomas's legacy. They'd barely spoken to Relle since, except for occasional cruel comments when they crossed paths. Now at 28, Relle had run the bakery for 10 years. She made enough to pay her bills and save a little. She had regular customers who appreciated her work, even if they whispered about her veil. And she had her father's memory, which reminded her that baking was about love. But she was lonely. So very lonely. Downstairs in the bakery kitchen, she started the day's work. Measuring flour, creaming butter, mixing batters. The familiar motions soothed her. This was her world, where she had control and purpose. Around noon, the bell above the shop door chimed. Relle wiped her flour-covered hands and walked to the front counter. Dominic Ashford stood in her small bakery, looking around with genuine interest. "Good afternoon," he said, smiling. "I told you I'd visit." Rochelle's heart skipped. "Welcome to Bennett's. It smells incredible in here." He approached the display case, examining the pastries and cakes. "Everything looks as good as those lemon tarts." "Thank you." She clasped her hands together, nervous. "What can I get you?" "Actually," Dominic said, meeting her eyes through the veil, "I was hoping we could talk. About your business." Rochelle's first instinct was to say no. Wealthy people didn't just show up wanting to talk about business with someone like her. It had to be a joke or a trap or something cruel waiting to happen. But she heard her father's voice in her head. "Always listen, sweetheart. You never know when opportunity is knocking." "We can talk in the back," she said quietly, leading Dominic through the kitchen to a small office space that was really just a desk crammed in a corner. "Thank you," Dominic said, sitting in the chair she offered. He looked perfectly comfortable despite the cramped space and flour dust everywhere. "I'll be direct if that's all right. I've built my career on recognizing quality, and your pastries are exceptional. Truly exceptional." "That's kind of you to say." "It's not kindness. It's fact." He leaned forward slightly. "I've eaten at the finest restaurants in the world. Your lemon tarts are better than anything I've had in Paris. Your chocolate work is sophisticated. Your flavor combinations are creative but not overly complicated. You have real talent." Rochelle didn't know what to say. Compliments always felt like traps. "I looked into your business," Dominic continued. "You've been running this place for 10 years. You're profitable but just barely. You work alone, which limits production. You don't have a website or social media presence. Your equipment is old, though well-maintained. Am I correct so far?" She nodded slowly. "Rochelle, I'd like to invest in your bakery. Help you expand, upgrade your equipment, hire staff, and reach a wider customer base. You'd maintain full creative control and majority ownership. I'd simply provide capital and business expertise." The offer hung in the air between them. Every instinct Rochelle had screamed that this was too good to be true. People didn't help her. People mocked her, avoided her, or used her. But Dominic's expression held no deception. Just honest interest and respect. "Why?" she finally asked. "Why would you want to help me?" Because good things should grow, he said simply. Because talent deserves support. Because I believe in investing in people who have something special. He paused. And because I think you've been overlooked for too long. Tears pricked Rochelle's eyes behind the veil. I don't know what to say. Say you'll think about it. No pressure. Take a few days, consider the offer, and let me know. He pulled a business card from his pocket and placed it on the desk. My direct number is on there. Call anytime. Relle looked at the card. Heavy stock, simple design, real gold embossing. Dominic Ashford, CEO, Ashford Investments. I appreciate this, she said. More than you know. I hope you'll accept, Dominic said, standing. But I understand if you need time. After he left, Relle sat at her desk for a long time, holding his business card. Her mind raced with possibilities and fears. This could change everything. Or it could be another cruel trick. Grace Wilson appeared at the back door, knocking gently. Saw you had a fancy visitor. Everything all right? Relle told her about the offer. Grace listened carefully, then nodded decisively. Take it, she said firmly. But what if? What if it's real? Grace interrupted. What if someone finally sees your worth and wants to help? What if this is the opportunity you've been working toward for 10 years? She took Rochelle's hand. Fear is natural, dear. But don't let it steal your future. That evening, Relle called the number on the card. Dominic Ashford. Mr. Ashford, this is Relle Bennett. Please call me Dominic. Have you thought about the offer? Relle took a deep breath. I'd like to accept. With gratitude. There was a smile in his voice when he responded. I'm very glad to hear that. Let's meet tomorrow and discuss details. How about lunch? I know a quiet place where we can talk business properly. All right. Relle, one more thing. He paused. This is going to be good. I promise you that. After hanging up, Relle sat in the quiet bakery and let herself feel something she hadn't experienced in years. Excitement about the future. The transformation happened faster than Relle imagined possible. Within 2 weeks, contractors had upgraded her kitchen with state-of-the-art ovens, mixers, and refrigeration. Dominic hired a business consultant to help develop her brand. A web designer created a beautiful website showcasing her pastries. We're not changing what makes you special, Dominic explained during one of their regular meetings. We're just letting more people discover it. He visited the bakery 3 or 4 times a week, always respectful and professional. He never asked about her veil, never stared, never made her feel uncomfortable. He treated her like a business partner and, increasingly, like a friend. Try this, Relle said one afternoon, offering him a slice of her newest creation, a layered cake with lavender cream and honey buttercream. Dominic took a bite and closed his eyes. That's beautiful. The flavors are so delicate but distinct. You think customers will like it? I think they'll love it. He smiled at her. You have incredible instincts, Relle. Trust them. She found herself looking forward to his visits. They talked about more than business. He told her about growing up as the son of immigrant parents who worked 3 jobs between them to give him opportunities. He shared his struggles building his first company, the failures and rejections he'd faced. People see the success now, he said. They don't see the years I lived on ramen and determination. But you kept going, Relle said. Because I believed in what I was building. Just like you believe in this bakery. He asked about her father, and she found herself sharing memories she rarely spoke about. Thomas's terrible jokes. His insistence on singing while he baked. The way he made every customer feel special. He sounds like a wonderful man, Dominic said quietly. He was. He'd be proud of you. Of what you've created here. The words meant more than Dominic could know. By the end of the 3rd month, Bennett's Bakery had tripled its revenue. Relle hired 2 part-time assistants to help with production. The website received dozens of orders daily. Food bloggers started writing about her pastries. A local magazine wanted to do a feature. We should talk about opening a second location, Dominic said during their weekly business meeting at the bakery. A second location? Relle repeated, stunned. You're ready? The demand is there. We could find a space in the downtown area, maybe near my office building. He pulled out a folder. I've researched some possibilities. They spent the next hour discussing logistics, costs, and timelines. Rochelle's mind spun with possibilities. After Dominic left, she walked through the bakery, touching the new equipment, looking at the full display cases, hearing the chatter of her assistants in the back. This was real. This was happening. Grace came by later as she did most evenings. You're glowing, dear, she said. Success looks good on you. I can't believe how everything has changed, Relle said. I can. Grace settled into her favorite chair by the window. That young man Dominic. He's special. He's been incredibly kind. He looks at you like you're special too, Grace said gently. Relle felt her cheeks warm behind the veil. He's just being professional. Grace's eyes twinkled. If you say so. That night, alone in her apartment, Relle looked at herself in the mirror. The veil stared back at her unchanged. But beneath it she felt different. Stronger. More confident. She thought about Dominic's green eyes and warm smile. The way he listened when she talked. The way he believed in her. Grace's words echoed. He looks at you like you're special too. Relle touched the veil gently. For the first time in 12 years she wondered what might happen if she took it off. The second location opened 6 months after Dominic's initial investment. Bennett's Bakery downtown occupied a beautiful space with floor-to-ceiling windows, marble counters, and seating for 20 customers. Relle had hired 4 more staff members and trained them carefully in her father's recipes. The grand opening drew a huge crowd. Local news covered it. Food critics came. Dominic stood beside her the entire time, quietly supportive. This is your moment, he told her. Enjoy it. She was enjoying it. For the first time in her adult life, Relle felt proud of herself. The veil was still there, but it seemed less important somehow. People came for her pastries, not to judge her face. 3 days after the opening, Relle was working at the downtown location when the door chimed. She looked up from the display case and froze. Patricia Bennett walked in, followed by Brenda and Candace. All 3 wore expensive designer clothes and calculated expressions. Well, Patricia said, her voice carrying across the shop. Look at this. Little Relle has done quite well for herself. Several customers turned to look. Relle felt her stomach drop. Hello, Patricia. That's stepmother to you? Patricia said sharply. Or have you forgotten who raised you after your father died? Raised is a strong word, Relle said quietly. Brenda walked around the shop, touching things with theatrical appreciation. This must have cost a fortune. Where did you get the money? Don't tell me that dump on Maple Street suddenly became profitable. I have an investor, Relle said. An investor. Patricia laughed. How convenient. And what did you have to do to get that investment, Hard to imagine anyone wanting to invest in you unless you offered something extra. The insinuation was clear and cruel. Several customers looked uncomfortable. I'd like you to leave, Relle said, her voice shaking but firm. Leave? But we're customers. Candace picked up a pastry and took a bite without paying. Actually, this is pretty good. Better than I expected from someone with your limitations. We heard about your success, Patricia said, moving closer to the counter. And we thought we should talk. About family obligations. Obligations. We practically raised you, Brenda said. We deserve compensation for those years of care. Care? Rochelle's voice rose slightly. You made my life miserable. You told me I was ugly every single day. You destroyed my confidence. We toughened you up, Patricia said dismissively. And now you owe us. We're thinking $50,000 should cover it. Each. $150,000. The number was absurd. I don't owe you anything, Relle said. Really? Patricia's eyes narrowed. Because I have lots of stories I could tell about you. About what you're hiding under that veil. I could share them with reporters, with your customers. I wonder how your business would do if everyone knew the truth about how damaged you really are. The threat hung in the air like poison. Relle felt panic rising in her chest. The door chimed again and Dominic walked in. He took in the scene immediately, his expression hardening. Dominic, Relle said, her voice breaking with relief. Is there a problem? He asked calmly, moving to stand beside her behind the counter. And who are you? Patricia demanded. Dominic Ashford. Rochelle's business partner. His tone was polite but cold. And you are? Her family. Family doesn't threaten extortion, Dominic said quietly. Which is what I just heard. Patricia's face flushed. We're not. You demanded money in exchange for silence. That's textbook extortion. Dominic pulled out his phone. I have lawyers who would be very interested in this conversation. Shall I call them? Brenda and Candace exchanged nervous glances. We were just discussing family matters, Patricia said, her bravado cracking. By threatening Rochelle's business? Dominic's voice remained calm but carried steel underneath. I don't think so. I think you should leave now. And if you contact Relle again with demands or threats, you'll be hearing from those lawyers. This isn't over, Patricia hissed, but she was already backing toward the door. Yes, Dominic said firmly. It is. The three women left, shooting venomous looks over their shoulders. After they were gone, Relle realized she was shaking. Dominic gently guided her to one of the shop's chairs and crouched beside her. Are you all right? He asked softly. They've never come after me for money before, she said. They've been cruel but not like this. Success brings out the worst in some people, Dominic said. But you don't owe them anything. Not money, not explanations, nothing. Thank you for being here. For standing up for me. Always, he said simply. One of the staff members brought her water. Customers who'd witnessed the scene approached to offer support. An older man said, "Those women should be ashamed. Your pastries are wonderful." A young mother added, "Don't let them take your joy. You've earned this." The kindness from strangers made Rochelle's eyes water. Dominic stayed for the rest of the afternoon, helping where he could and just being present. That evening, as they locked up together, he turned to her. "Relle, I need you to know something. Whatever they threatened, whatever they think they know, it doesn't matter. Your business is strong. Your reputation is excellent. And you have people who support you." "Including you?" she asked quietly. "Especially me," he said, and the warmth in his voice made her heart skip. 2 weeks after Patricia's threatening visit, Dominic asked Relle to attend a charity gala with him. Not as the baker providing desserts. As his guest. "I understand if you're not comfortable," he said quickly. "It's a business and social event. But I'd really like you there." Every instinct told her to say no. Large social gatherings meant stares, whispers, judgment. But she thought about how much had changed in the past 8 months. How much she'd grown. How different she felt now compared to the isolated woman who'd stood behind a table at that fundraiser. "I'd be honored," she said. Grace was thrilled when Relle told her. "You need a dress," she declared. A beautiful dress. They went shopping together, something Relle hadn't done in years. Grace had firm opinions about everything. "Not black," she said, vetoing several options. "You need color. You're alive, not mourning." They found a stunning maroon gown with a fitted bodice and flowing skirt. The color made Rochelle's dark skin seem to glow. "That's the one," Grace said with satisfaction. On the night of the gala, Relle stood in front of her mirror, adjusting her veil over the beautiful dress. The contrast was stark. The elegant gown said she was confident, successful, sophisticated. The veil said she was hiding, afraid, broken. She thought about taking it off. Just for tonight. Just to try. But the fear was too strong. Not yet. Dominic picked her up in his town car. He wore a tailored black tuxedo and looked every inch the successful billionaire. When he saw her, his expression softened. "You look beautiful," he said. "Thank you. So do you. Handsome, I mean." He smiled. "Ready?" The gala was held at the city's most prestigious hotel. The ballroom glittered with chandeliers, filled with elegantly dressed people. Rochelle's anxiety spiked as they entered. But Dominic stayed close, his hand resting lightly on her back, guiding and steadying her. "Dominic," a man called out, approaching them. He was tall, with warm brown skin and an easy smile. "Good to see you." "Trevor," Dominic said, shaking his hand. "This is Relle Bennett, my business partner and owner of Bennett's Bakery. Relle, this is Trevor Hayes, my college friend and current business partner in several ventures." "A pleasure," Trevor said, shaking her hand. His eyes showed curiosity about the veil but no judgment. "Dominic speaks very highly of your talent. I've been to the downtown location 3 times this week. Those chocolate croissants are dangerous." Relle found herself relaxing slightly. "Thank you. That's very kind." "It's honest," Trevor said. "You're brilliant at what you do." Throughout the evening, Dominic introduced her to dozens of people. Business associates. Philanthropists. Other entrepreneurs. Some stared at her veil. Some whispered. But many were simply polite and interested in her work. "I read about your bakery in the magazine," one woman said enthusiastically. "I've been meaning to visit. Your lavender honey cake sounds divine." "It's our most popular special order item," Relle said, finding her confidence growing. "I'm planning a daughter's wedding. Could we discuss catering?" They exchanged contact information and Relle felt a surge of pride. This was business. This was success. This was real. During dinner, she sat beside Dominic at a table with Trevor and several other people. The conversation flowed easily. Someone told a funny story about a failed business pitch. Someone else shared a terrible investment mistake. They were successful, powerful people admitting their flaws and laughing about their failures. Relle realized something profound. Everyone here had insecurities. Everyone had fears. The difference was they didn't let those fears define them. After dinner there was dancing. Dominic stood and offered his hand. "I'm not very good," she warned. "Neither am I. We'll figure it out together." On the dance floor, with his hand on her waist and her hand in his, Relle felt something shift. This man had changed her life. He'd believed in her when she couldn't believe in herself. He'd protected her from Patricia's threats. He'd introduced her to his world without shame or hesitation. "Thank you for tonight," she said softly. "Thank you for coming," he replied. "I know this wasn't easy. It was easier than I expected. Because you were with me." His hand tightened slightly on her waist. "I'm glad." They danced through 2 more songs and Relle felt something she hadn't experienced in years. She felt like she belonged. Later, as Dominic drove her home, they talked about the evening. The people they'd met. The connections made. The potential business opportunities. "You were remarkable tonight," Dominic said as they pulled up to her building. "Confident, professional, warm. Everyone loved you." "I had a good teacher," she said. "No. That was all you. I just gave you the opportunity. You did the rest." They sat in the car for a moment, the engine idling softly. "Dominic," Relle said hesitantly, "can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Why did you really approach me at that fundraiser? Why did you offer to invest?" He was quiet for a moment. "Honestly, I saw someone talented being overlooked because people are shallow and cruel. I saw potential being wasted because no one bothered to look past surface appearances." He turned to face her. "And I saw someone who reminded me of myself when I was starting out. Alone, underestimated, working twice as hard for half the recognition." "But you've been so much more than an investor," Relle said. "You've been a friend. A protector. You've believed in me." "That's because you're worth believing in," he said simply. The words settled into Rochelle's heart and took root. Worth believing in. When was the last time someone had made her feel that way? "Good night, Dominic," she said softly. "Good night, Relle." She went upstairs to her apartment and stood in front of the mirror in her beautiful maroon gown. Behind the veil, her eyes were bright. Her smile was real. Something was changing. She was changing. And for the first time in 12 years, she wondered if maybe, just maybe, she could imagine a life without the veil. The weeks following the gala felt different. Relle caught herself smiling more. Laughing at small things. Looking forward to Dominic's visits to the bakery with an eagerness that had nothing to do with business. He continued to come by several times a week. They'd discuss sales figures and expansion plans, but increasingly they talked about other things. Books they'd read. Movies they'd watched. Childhood memories. "What's your earliest memory?" Dominic asked one afternoon while sampling her new recipe for almond cake. Relle thought back. "I was maybe 3 years old. My mom took me to a park and pushed me on the swings. I remember feeling like I was flying. Like nothing could touch me." She smiled at the memory. "What about you?" "My mother teaching me to count in her native language," he said. "She was from Italy, my father from Ireland. They met in New York and fell in love despite not speaking the same language initially. That's romantic. They used to say love doesn't need translation." His expression grew distant. "They both passed away 5 years ago. Car accident. They were coming home from their anniversary dinner." "Oh, Dominic. I'm so sorry." "Thank you. I think that's part of why I work so hard. They sacrificed so much to give me opportunities. I want to honor that." He looked at her. "You understand that, don't you? Working hard to honor someone you lost." "Yes," she said softly. "Exactly that." The connection between them deepened with each conversation. Relle found herself sharing things she'd never told anyone except Grace. About the years with Patricia and her daughters. About the day she'd first put on the veil. About the loneliness that had defined her 20s. Dominic listened without interrupting, without judging. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. "They were wrong," he finally said. "Everything they told you was a lie designed to control you. You know that, right?" "Intellectually, yes. But years of hearing something makes it hard to unbelieve." "I understand." He reached across the table and took her hand. "But I need you to hear this. You are talented, kind, brave, and worthy of every good thing life has to offer. The veil doesn't define you. Their cruelty doesn't define you. Your actions, your heart, your spirit define you." Tears slipped down Rochelle's cheeks behind the veil. She didn't pull her hand away from his. One evening, after closing the downtown location, Dominic offered to drive her home. Rain had started falling, turning the city streets into rivers of reflected light. I hate driving in rain, Relle admitted. It makes me anxious. Then I'm glad I'm here. They drove in comfortable silence for a while, the rhythmic swish of windshield wipers filling the space. Then Dominic spoke. Can I tell you something? Something I haven't told anyone? Of course. I'm lonely, he said quietly. I have money, success, respect. I have business associates and acquaintances. But I don't have real friends. Not really. And I certainly don't have. He trailed off. Don't have what? Someone who sees me. Not my bank account, not my business, not what I can do for them. Just me. Relle understood completely. I feel that way too. Invisible, but for different reasons. You're not invisible to me, Dominic said. You're the most visible person I know. He pulled up to her building but didn't immediately let her out. The rain drummed on the roof of the car, creating a private world inside. Relle, I need to be honest with you about something. Her heart beat faster. Okay. These past months working with you, getting to know you, it's been the best part of my life. You make me laugh. You challenge me to think differently. You remind me why I fell in love with business in the first place, because it can help good people do good things. Dominic. I'm not finished, he said gently. I think about you constantly. I find excuses to visit the bakery. I check the sales reports 3 times a day just to feel connected to what you're doing. And I know this might complicate things, but I need you to know, I have feelings for you. Real, deep, romantic feelings. The world seemed to stop. Relle couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. You don't have to respond, Dominic continued. I'm not asking for anything. I just needed you to know. Because honesty matters and you deserve honesty. I don't understand, Relle whispered. How can you have feelings for someone whose face you've never seen? Because I see everything that matters. Your kindness when you give free pastries to Grace even though she can't really afford them. Your patience teaching your staff. Your determination to succeed. Your loyalty to your father's memory. Your smile even though I can only see it in your eyes. Your laugh. Your heart. He paused. I fell for who you are, not what you look like. But. No buts. I'm not asking you to take off the veil. I'm not asking you to change anything. I just wanted you to know that someone sees you, values you, and cares deeply about you. Relle was crying now, tears soaking into her veil. You're the kindest person I've ever met. So will you think about it? About the possibility of us? She should say no. She should protect herself from inevitable disappointment. But Grace's words came back. Don't let fear steal your future. Yes, she whispered. I'll think about it. Dominic smiled, and the warmth in his expression made her heart ache. That's all I ask. He walked her to her door, said goodnight, and left. Relle climbed the stairs to her apartment in a daze. Grace was waiting at her door, holding an umbrella. I saw his car, Grace said. Thought you might need to talk. Relle let them both inside and told Grace everything. About Dominic's confession. About his feelings. About her own confused, hopeful, terrified emotions. What do I do? She asked. Grace smiled. You take a chance, dear. That man loves you. Really loves you. And unless I'm very mistaken, you love him too. But what if he sees my face and changes his mind? What if he doesn't? What if he looks at you and sees exactly what I see, a beautiful woman inside and out? Grace took her hand. You can't live in fear forever. At some point you have to trust that you're worthy of love. Because you are. That night, lying in bed, Relle touched her veil and thought about possibility. About trust. About love. For the first time in 12 years, she let herself imagine taking it off. Relle barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Dominic's face when he told her he had feelings for her. The sincerity. The vulnerability. The hope. By morning, she'd made a decision. She called him before she could lose her nerve. Relle, he answered immediately. Is everything okay? Can we talk? In person? Of course. Where and when? My apartment. Tonight after the bakery's close. 7 o'clock. There was a pause. I'll be there. The day dragged on forever. Relle burned a batch of cookies because she wasn't paying attention. She mixed up 2 orders. Her staff kept asking if she felt all right. Just distracted, she said. Grace came by in the afternoon and immediately knew something was different. What happened? She asked. I'm going to tell him, Relle said. About the veil. About everything. And then I'm going to see what happens. Grace's eyes filled with tears. Oh, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you. I'm terrified. That's how you know it matters. Grace hugged her tightly. He's going to see what we all see, a beautiful soul in a beautiful person. At 6:30, Relle closed the downtown location early and drove home through rush hour traffic. She showered, changed into comfortable jeans and a bright blue sweater, and tried to calm her racing heart. The veil stayed on. For now. Dominic arrived exactly at 7, holding a bouquet of flowers. Not roses. Something more unique, blue irises and white lilies. I wasn't sure if flowers were appropriate, he said. But I wanted to bring something. They're beautiful. Come in. Her apartment was small but cozy. Books lined one wall. Photos of her parents decorated another. The furniture was old but comfortable. I like it, Dominic said, looking around. It feels like you. Warm and welcoming. They sat on her couch, awkward silence filling the space. I've been thinking about what you said, Relle began. About having feelings for me. I meant every word. I know. I can tell. She twisted her hands together. But I need you to understand something. The reason I wear this veil isn't what people think. I don't have scars. I wasn't in an accident. I'm not hiding physical damage. Dominic leaned forward slightly but didn't interrupt. I wear it because I was told, every single day for years, that I was ugly. That no one would ever want me. That I should be grateful for any attention because I was so unattractive. The words came faster now, years of pain pouring out. My stepmother and stepsisters destroyed my confidence so completely that I couldn't look at myself without hearing their voices. So I hid. I put on this veil and convinced myself it made things better. Oh, Relle, Dominic said softly. But here's what I've realized, it didn't make things better. It made me invisible. It made me safe from judgment, but it also kept me isolated from connection. From friendship. She took a shaky breath. From love. You deserve love, Dominic said. So much love. You said you have feelings for me without ever seeing my face. That you fell for who I am. I did. I do. Then I need to trust that. I need to trust you. Relle stood up, her whole body trembling. I'm going to take off my veil. Not because you asked. Not because I think I have to. But because I'm ready to stop hiding. To stop letting their voices control me. Dominic stood too. You don't have to do this for me. I'm doing it for me. But I want you here. I want you to be the first person to see me choose not to hide. He nodded, understanding. Relle reached up with shaking hands and unclipped the veil from her headband. She lowered it slowly, her heart pounding so hard she thought it might burst. The fabric fell away. For a long moment Dominic didn't speak. He just stared. Rochelle's panic rose. She'd been right. He was disappointed. Disgusted. He was going to leave. Relle, he finally whispered. She couldn't read his expression. I know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. You're stunning. She froze. What? You're absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. He took a step closer. I thought I knew what I'd see, but this? You're incredible. Relle looked up at him, searching his face for any sign of deception or pity. She saw neither. She saw wonder, appreciation, and something deeper. Something that made her breath catch. I'm not just saying that, Dominic continued. Your eyes are the most expressive I've ever seen. Your smile, which I've only glimpsed before, is radiant. Your face is elegant and strong and so very lovely. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and gently touched her cheek. But you know what's really beautiful? The courage it took to show me. That's what takes my breath away. Tears streamed down Rochelle's face. You really mean it. Every word. His thumb brushed away her tears. They were wrong, Relle. So completely, cruelly wrong. You're beautiful. You've always been beautiful. And I feel privileged that you trust me enough to show me. She stepped closer to him, closing the distance between them. I want to try, she said. To see if we could work. If this feeling between us could be something real. It's already real, Dominic said. At least for me. For me too, she admitted. I think I've been falling for you since the day you first walked into my bakery and treated me like I mattered. You matter more than you know. He leaned down slowly, giving her every opportunity to step back. But Relle didn't step back. She lifted her face to his, and when his lips met hers, she felt something inside her heal. The kiss was gentle, tentative, perfect. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. Stay for dinner? Relle asked. I can't promise anything fancy. I'd love to. They cooked together in her small kitchen. Simple pasta with vegetables, garlic bread, salad. They talked and laughed and moved around each other with growing comfort. After dinner they sat on the couch and talked until midnight about everything and nothing. Rochelle's face remained uncovered, and every time Dominic looked at her with that warm, appreciative expression, she felt a little bit more whole. When he finally left, he kissed her again at the door. "Thank you for tonight," he said. "For trusting me." "Thank you for seeing me," she replied. After he left, Rochelle stood in front of her mirror and looked at her bare face for a long time. She saw the features Patricia had called ugly, the nose Brenda had mocked, the lips Candace had criticized. But she also saw something else, a woman who was loved, who was valued, who was seen. And for the first time in 12 years, she thought she might actually be beautiful after all. If this story touches your heart, please subscribe to see more inspiring tales of hope, love, and second chances. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us bring more stories like Rochelle's to life. Do you believe in the power of seeing beyond the surface? Let us know. The next few weeks felt like living in a dream. Rochelle wore her veil less and less. First just around her apartment. Then when Grace visited. Then at the original bakery location on Maple Street, where her longtime customers adjusted with surprising ease. "About time," one regular said. "Though I've been coming here for 8 years because of your pastries, not your face." Others were similarly practical and kind. The whispers didn't stop entirely, but they changed. Instead of "What's wrong with her?" people asked, "Did she get surgery?" Or, "Was she in therapy?" Rochelle didn't correct them. Let them think what they wanted. She knew the truth. She'd simply stopped believing the lies. At the downtown location, she continued wearing the veil during business hours. Baby steps, Grace called it. But even there, customers started to see more smiles, more confidence, more of who she really was. Her relationship with Dominic deepened. They went on dates, quiet dinners, walks in the park, movie nights at his apartment or hers. He introduced her to his small circle of close friends, including Trevor, who became a friend to Rochelle as well. "You're good for him," Trevor told her one evening when Dominic stepped away to take a phone call. "I've known him for 15 years and I've never seen him this happy." "He's good for me too," Rochelle said. "That's how it should be. Mutual growth." Trevor smiled. "He's planning something, you know. Something big." "What do you mean?" "That's all I'm saying. He'll tell you when he's ready." A week later, Rochelle was at her apartment when Dominic called. "Are you busy tonight?" he asked. "Just meal planning for next week." "Why? Can I come over? There's something I want to talk about." Her heart skipped. "Of course." He arrived an hour later, looking nervous in a way she'd never seen before. He carried a leather portfolio which he set on her coffee table. "Is everything okay?" Rochelle asked. "You seem anxious." "I'm fine. Better than fine." He took her hand. "But I need to tell you something and I'm not sure how you'll react." Worry crept in. "What is it?" "First, I want you to know that I love you. I'm in love with you. Completely, deeply, irrevocably in love with you." Rochelle's breath caught. "I love you too. I was hoping you'd say that." His smile was bright but uncertain. "Because what I'm about to show you involves our future. Together. If you want that." He opened the portfolio and pulled out architectural drawings. "What is this?" Rochelle asked, leaning forward. "Plans for a new building. A flagship location for Bennett's Bakery. 3 floors, retail and cafe on the first floor, a teaching kitchen on the second where you could offer classes, and office space on the third. It would be in the Arts District, near the new Performing Arts Center. High foot traffic, great visibility." The drawings were beautiful. Professional. Detailed. Rochelle could picture it perfectly. "This is incredible," she said. "But Dominic, this would cost a fortune." "It would be an investment. A good one. Your business has tripled in size in less than a year. The projections show continued growth. This building would establish you as a major player in the city's culinary scene." Rochelle studied the drawings, her mind racing. "When did you do this?" "I've been working with architects for about a month. But I didn't want to present it until I was sure about something." "Sure about what?" He took both her hands. "Sure that you and I are building something together. Not just in business but in life. I wanted to make sure you felt the same way I do before proposing something this big." "I do feel the same way," Rochelle said softly. "Then there's something else." He pulled out another document. "This is a revised partnership agreement. Currently, you own 60% of the business and I own 40% as the investor. This new agreement proposes a 50-50 split." Rochelle blinked. "But that would mean giving up control." "No. It would mean sharing control. Equal partners in every sense." He squeezed her hands. "I don't want to be just your investor, Rochelle. I want to build this with you. side by side. Equal voices in every decision. She looked at the drawings again, then at the man she loved. You're serious about this? About us? About building a future together? Completely serious. I've never been more certain of anything. Relle felt tears threatening. Good tears this time. I don't know what to say. Say you'll think about it. About the building, the partnership, and about what we're creating together. I don't need to think about it, Relle said. Yes. Yes to all of it. Yes to building something amazing together. Yes to being equal partners. Yes to whatever future we can create. Dominic's face lit up with joy. He pulled her into his arms and kissed her, and in that moment, Relle felt the last piece of her old fear crumble away. They spent the rest of the evening poring over the plans, discussing possibilities, dreaming together. Grace stopped by around 9 and immediately understood something significant had happened. Tell me everything, she demanded. They showed her the plans. Grace cried happy tears and hugged them both. Your father would be so proud, she told Relle. Not just of your success but of your courage. Of the woman you've become. That night, after everyone had left, Relle stood in her bedroom and looked at the veil hanging on its hook. She'd worn it for 12 years. It had protected her, yes. But it had also imprisoned her. She took it down and folded it carefully. Not throwing it away. Just putting it aside. A reminder of where she'd been but not where she was going. Her phone buzzed with a text from Dominic. Thinking about you. About us. About the amazing things we're going to build together. I love you. She texted back. I love you too. Thank you for seeing me when I couldn't see myself. His reply came immediately. Thank you for letting me in. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Relle fell asleep smiling, the veil folded in a drawer, her face bare, her heart full. 6 months later, Bennett's Bakery flagship location opened its doors. The building was even more beautiful than the drawings had suggested. Natural light flooded through large windows. Display cases gleamed. The cafe area featured comfortable seating and original artwork from local artists. The teaching kitchen on the second floor was state-of-the-art, designed for both intimate classes and larger demonstrations. Relle had already scheduled 6 months of workshops. Pastry basics, advanced chocolate work, bread baking, cake decorating. This is it, Dominic said, standing beside her in the empty shop the night before the grand opening. Your dream realized. Our dream, Relle corrected. She wore a beautiful red dress, her face uncovered, her smile confident. I couldn't have done any of this without you. You underestimate yourself. You'd have succeeded eventually. I just helped speed things up. You did more than that. You helped me believe in myself. The grand opening exceeded every expectation. Lines formed before they unlocked the doors. Food critics raved. Local news covered it extensively. Social media exploded with photos and reviews. By noon, they'd sold out of most items. Relle and her staff of 12 worked frantically to keep up with demand. It was exhausting, exhilarating, perfect. Grace sat at a corner table, holding court with several other elderly neighbors, all of them beaming with pride. Trevor stopped by with a group of business associates, all of whom placed large orders for upcoming events. But the biggest surprise came around 2 in the afternoon. Patricia, Brenda, and Candace walked in. Relle tensed immediately. Dominic, working beside her behind the counter, moved closer protectively. It's okay, Relle said quietly. Let's see what they want. The 3 women approached the counter. They looked different. Smaller somehow. Less intimidating. Patricia spoke first, her voice subdued. Relle. The place looks incredible. Thank you. Patricia glanced at her daughters. We came to apologize. Really apologize. Relle waited, saying nothing. Brenda stepped forward. We were cruel to you. For years we said terrible things. Things that weren't true. Things that hurt you deeply. We were jealous, Candace added softly. Even back then we were jealous. You were kind where we were mean. Talented where we were ordinary. And instead of admiring you, we tore you down. Patricia's eyes were red. I failed you. I was supposed to take care of you after your father died, and instead I made your life miserable. There's no excuse for that. I was angry at your father for leaving everything to you, and I took that anger out on you. You were just a child, Brenda said. And we made you feel worthless when you were precious. We don't expect forgiveness, Candace continued. But we needed you to know that we're sorry. Truly deeply sorry. And that we're leaving. Moving to another state. Starting over. We thought you should know so you'd never have to worry about running into us again. Relle looked at the three women who had made her teenage years a nightmare. She saw regret in their faces. Genuine shame. They'd come here to her triumph and humbled themselves publicly. Part of her wanted to make them feel even a fraction of the pain they'd caused. But she heard her father's voice. Love and kindness, Relle. They're the most powerful forces in the world. I forgive you, she said quietly. All three women's eyes widened. I don't forget what happened. I can't. But I won't carry the hate anymore. It's too heavy. So I forgive you. I hope you find peace wherever you go. Patricia started crying. Thank you. You're kinder than we deserve. Everyone deserves kindness, Relle said. That's what my father taught me. I just forgot for a while. The three women left and Relle realized she felt lighter, freer. Forgiving them hadn't been for their benefit. It had been for hers. Dominic wrapped his arm around her waist. You're amazing. I'm learning, she said. That evening, after the shop closed and the staff went home, Relle and Dominic stood in the empty flagship location. They'd sold over 1,000 pastries, booked 3 major catering contracts, signed up 200 people for upcoming classes. Success, Dominic said. More than I ever imagined, Relle agreed. He turned to face her, taking both her hands. There's one more thing I wanted to do today. What's that? He pulled a small velvet box from his pocket and dropped to one knee. Rochelle's heart stopped. Relle Bennett, you're the strongest, kindest, most talented person I've ever known. You've taught me what real courage looks like. You've shown me that success means nothing without someone to share it with. You've made me believe in love in a way I never thought possible. He opened the box, revealing a simple, elegant diamond ring. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down Rochelle's face. Yes. Yes, absolutely yes. He slipped the ring on her finger and stood, pulling her into his arms. They kissed as the setting sun painted the bakery in golden light. I love you, she said. I love you too. Always. The celebration party was held a week later. Grace insisted on organizing it and she went all out. The original Maple Street location hosted over 100 people. Customers, friends, business associates, staff. Trevor gave a toast, to Relle and Dominic. May your partnership in business be as successful as your partnership in life. Grace gave her own toast, her voice cracking with emotion, to the girl who learned to see her own beauty and the man who never doubted it was there. May kindness, hope, and love always lead your way. Everyone cheered. Later, Relle found a quiet moment to stand in front of the old mirror in the bakery's bathroom. The same mirror she'd looked into countless times while wearing her veil. Now she saw her bare face. Her dark skin glowing. Her eyes bright with happiness. Her smile genuine and unafraid. She thought about the girl she'd been at 16, broken by cruel words and lost hope. She thought about the woman she'd been at 28, hiding behind fabric and fear. And she looked at the woman she was now at 29, successful, loved, confident, and finally free. Thank you, Daddy, she whispered, for teaching me that baking is about love. You were right. About everything. Dominic appeared in the doorway. Ready to go? She took his hand. Ready. They walked out together into the warm evening, past the display cases filled with pastries made with love, past the walls decorated with memories and dreams, past the life she'd built from pain and transformed into joy. Relle had been called too ugly to marry. She'd been told no one would ever want her. She'd been broken down and pushed aside. But kindness had found her. Hope had sustained her. And love had led her home. And in the end, that's all that ever really mattered.